Okay, a colleague asked me to write this for her magazine, so I wrote this little one-page article called Language, World, and Myself. Every expression of human life can be understood as a kind of language. Walter Benjamin, 1916. During my senior year in college, I shared an apartment with two female Japanese exchange students. Despite not knowing any Japanese, I would sit up for hours listening to them chat, entranced. No doubt they thought I was weird. The source of my fascination was a simple question. To what extent does their speech, or more precisely the signified referents of their speech, correspond to the referents of my own speech? When, for example, they say the Japanese word for hometown, which I now know to be furusato, does that word or its referent correspond exactly to what I mean when I say hometown? In other words, is there some universal concept that lies beyond or above each verbal utterance in each language? And what about the grammar? Does Japanese grammar order the world, both internal and external, in the same way that English grammar does? I had studied enough Spanish in high school to know that Spanish words are often identical to their Latinate English counterparts, and that its grammar shares much with English grammar. But what about Japanese, which had almost no contact with European languages prior to the Meiji period? Spurred by such questions, I decided to purchase several textbooks and begin studying the vocabulary, grammar, classical and modern, and kanji in earnest. After college, I lived in Saitama with a middle-aged woman for 10 months. Through a combination of social immersion and solitary study, I learned to speak, listen, read, and write. I also discovered the answer to my original question. In general, there are three types of words in modern Japanese. Modern conceptual words such as shakai, society, kokka, the state, kagaku, science, and kanose, potentiality, that were coined in early Meiji as translations from German or English, and thus correspond closely to their models. Yamato kotoba, or native words such as ao, usually translated as blue but in fact closer to green, that only loosely correspond to their English counterparts. And third, highly subjective and culturally specific words that have no direct correspondence in English and thus can be conveyed only by approximation or with supplementary explanation. This third type, no doubt the hardest to translate, reflects the often cited Jo no bunka, or culture of sentiment, that formed over the centuries in the aristocracy and imperial court. Poetic words like komorebi, which means sunlight filtering through trees, yugen, profound depth and mystery, kogarashi, which means cold late autumn winds, ukiyo, which means originally meant sad world and came to mean floating world, hanagumori, cloudy skies over cherry blossoms in full bloom, kazahana, literally wind flowers, meaning light snowfall in early winter, utakata, quickly disappearing foam that forms on water, kusamakura, grass pillow, and tokimeki, throbbing sparks of joy, often erotic, which carry rich connotative associations in addition to their denotative meanings. It is this third category that the renowned classical literature scholar Nakanishi Susumu examines in his books such as Utsukushi Nihongo no Fuke, 2008, and Kotoba no Kokoro, 2016, which I recently translated under the title The Japanese Linguistic Landscape, Reflections on Quintessential Words. And so, having found the answer to my original question, I was now ready to pursue my next interest, literary translation. Despite the profound differences between Japanese and English in terms of grammar, diction, writing system, and affective sensibility, this strange and sacred art of rendering the denotative and connotative meanings of a source text in an alien language, or target tongue as we say, was not only possible, but it could also be done with precision, subtlety, and grace. Thank you.